Hey there, what's going on? Dr. Jason here, board certified naturopath. I want to talk to you today about sugar. And I'm sure there's a lot of info out there, probably heard of that before, that we got to be careful with sugar. But if you would just consider a 2-week challenge to cut out sugar, and I mean by sugar, refined, added, processed sugar, it's totally fine to have some in fruit, of course. Maybe a little bit here and there if you're going to add a little bit to, some kind of recipe. But generally speaking, Americans consume just massive amounts of sugar every year. I mean, it's in like the hundreds of pounds or something. It's ridiculous, huge amounts of sugar. And it's one of the fastest ways to reverse health issues if we cut it out for a little bit. One of the fastest ways to get health issues if you continue to consume sugar, refined sugar, okay? So, but when we can cut this out, just try 2 weeks. Just trust me with it. Is it gonna be difficult? Yes. And why is it gonna be difficult? It is incredibly addictive to the brain. Sugar is actually more addictive than cocaine to the brain. Yeah, it creates a lot of dopamine, which is basically your reward center for doing something, right? We do something pleasurable, we get a reward. We typically get dopamine. There's a healthy way to secrete dopamine, of course. We need that neurotransmitter to help us focus and stay motivated and to reward us when we do certain things. For example, if you worked really hard on a project, whether it be work or school or life, and it just took you a lot of effort, and sometimes you failed at it, didn't do so good, but then you finally accomplished it, right? And you did it. You get dopamine. You get that pleasure, that like, oh, aha, I did it. Proud of myself, right? So dopamine is really powerful. The problem is when you have sugar, it's going to constantly look for dopamine all the time. And not only does that addict you to sugar and craving more foods and over-consuming, especially sugar-laden foods or carbohydrates, that also creates an addictive personality trait in the brain where we're always looking for dopamine. That means we can get addicted to other things, believe it or not. Sugar can actually be a gateway to other things. We can maybe be on our phone too much, be on too much social media. Maybe we can, maybe too much like risky behavior, like too much sexual behavior potentially. Too much looking for, that adrenaline rush, always trying to get to that next thing. And instead of understanding that we have to have balance. We can't always be in looking for like riding a roller coaster every minute of our life, right? So sugar, believe it or not, can lead to a lot of other issues. Other things it can cause problems with, of course, is insulin management, right? Whenever you consume anything, you're gonna get a little secretion of insulin. That's just part of how our body determines satiety and moves nutrients into the cell. However, with sugar, we typically are gonna get a pretty big spike of insulin, right? And also blood sugar. And what happens is that insulin is gonna be pro-inflammatory. It can cause a lot of issues. It can cause our joints to ache. It can cause us to have mood problems or mood disorders. It can really wreak havoc in a lot of areas in our life, especially if you're prone to inflammation, okay? So sugar is such a monster. I know it's difficult, but I encourage you to try 2 weeks, and it's not easy, but the idea is that you encourage yourself to get through that 2-week period. Think of it like a boot camp for going off sugar and then getting through some of the withdrawals from it. You may get a headache from it, it may not feel so good. You could be a little grouchy, but get through that. I really encourage you to give it a shot. And there are some things you can do to help you with that. Again, I encourage you to work with a practitioner, but I put patients on certain homeopathics that can really help minimize the sugar cravings. It can help a lot. They actually help with a lot of addictive type personality traits or traits that some people get into, or I would say, kind of in a rut type of thing. But that can help a lot. It's just that we want to at least know what it's like to live without sugar, okay? And so once you detox that for a couple weeks and you feel better, you can actually reintroduce a little bit. I want you to try that. After you detox for 2 weeks, try a little bit. Try a small dessert or something and notice how crappy you feel. Most people will feel like, man, I feel shaky, I feel irritable, I didn't sleep as good, and my bowel was weird, right? You'll notice the true effect sugar had on your body. But when we're in our normal, right, guys, like our normal, we don't realize the effect sugar has on us and until we remove it. So I do encourage you to try that out. I do encourage you to work on self-care during that period of time, work on getting more, drinking more water. If you're not doing well at that, getting more exercise, meditation, things that can help say, you know what, I'm not just gonna sit here and suffer some of these withdrawal or detox symptoms. I'm gonna use that time to focus my energy on and improving other parts of my body. I think that'd be awesome for you. Give it a shot and try it out. Let me know how it goes. Okay, take care, bye-bye.